Welcome, dear listener, to episode 57. I'm James.
I'm Mike, and we are.
Heinz 57 Ketchup.
Are we really?
Last to the party, the show where we talk about nerdy goodness.
How many companies own us?
I've been trying to pay the bills somehow.
Good Lord.
But the only thing saving us is our faithful Patreon supporter, who this show is brought to you by, Debbie Bricker. Now, she listened to our Star Wars rewritten blooper reel, and she said, I just listened to the Star Wars blooper reel. Told you. I literally laughed out loud several times. Y'all need to head over to Patreon and support these guys and enjoy the bloopers as much as I did. That you guys can click the link below or simply go to patreon.com and search Last to the Party and check us out. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, buddy.
What do we have for him this week?
Well, little brother, in our extremely well-written introduction, we talk about, quote, all things nerdy. So this week, we're going to do just that. We're going to talk about the other things we are super nerdy about besides the comic books and the video games, the movies, the TV shows. What makes us tick besides the pop culture goodness? Well, today, we're going to branch out and let you, dear listener, know all about the other things that we nerd out about, because being a nerd isn't just about certain things. Sometimes you can just love information about other things, and that's what we do in well-roundedness, dear listener. So
That's right.
James, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, so what do we mean about like other nerdy stuff? It's really stuff that we don't normally talk about on the show. Mike and I sort of realized a few weeks ago that we kind of only talk about comic books, movies, and video games. But I'm nerdy about tons of stuff. You know, we don't talk about books nearly as often as we should on this show, I don't think.
Truth.
I mean, but my poor wife has a lot more to listen to. Me ramble on, you know, hours after hour after hour. And it's not just about, you know, movies, comic books, and video games. I unfortunately have 5 or 6 different things that we're going to talk about in this episode. Things that we are, quote, nerds about. Things that we go all in about. Things that we love as much, if not equal to, the you know, the normal nerdy goodness that we talk about on this show on a weekly basis. So, Mike.
Yeah, buddy.
What's something you are super duper nerdy about?
Well, I like a good story. I like a well-crafted story. I like a story. See, I have the kind of mindset where I tend to be able to deduce where a story is going unless it's just that well written. And there are several books out there like that, like The Inheritance Cycle. The Inheritance Cycle is a wonderful book. It's basically the current young adult version on if Tolkien were writing today, that voice would probably sound like The Inheritance Cycle.
Who's it written by?
It is by Christopher, I'm going to slaughter your name.
Nolan.
Paolini, I think is how you pronounce it. He wrote the first book when he was 16.
I gotcha. We'll put a link to all of our book suggestions in comments down below.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. It's basically a boy finds a something in the mountains, and it ends up completely tilting his world upside down, and exposes him to a broader world, much like Star Wars, but fantasy. So,
Ooh.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. So I mean, I like other books, obviously the Rick Riordan, the Percy Jackson series, Magnus Chase series, where you take familiar mythological things and give it a modern day what if twist. He does a lot of those, whether it's Egyptian, Norse, I already said Norse, Greek, Roman. What was there another one? I think those are his mainstays right now. I'm trying to remember if there was any others, but I just like how he incorporates all that. And the movies do not give this series justice. Unlike the Harry Potter series, some book series, when they're made into movies, they're not that good. And Percy Jackson, sadly, is one of them. The movies are enjoyable unless you've read the books, and then you're like, oh, poopies. So it's just a thing.
I gotcha.
Just a thing. What's the thing that you're nerdy about outside of the norm?
I'm actually going to jump down my list. I've really been trying to get into like blacksmithing.
Okay.
because I want to start making my own knives.
That's a frightening thought.
Yeah, I've had an unhealthy obsession with knives since I was a kid.
Because they're pointy.
Yeah, they're gorgeous to me. I think I look at a knife the same way someone else, might look at a car or a motorcycle. Like I appreciate the lines and the bevel and the tempering and the material and the construction and the fit and the finish, and I'm so obsessed with them. Not in like a Joker way.
Good.
But
Karen comes home and finds James on a bed, like ringed with knives and like guns and ammo magazine. It'd be very weird.
I mean, dear listener, when you see me, know that at any given time I probably have at least 2 on me. Just they all have different purposes. But yeah, so I've been doing a lot of research in the vein of old Roger Perry. I've been doing a lot of how to start, a lot of where to begin, reading a lot of blogs, watching a lot of videos. I'm pretty confident I can do it. I don't know why. I just am.
Go for it. It's not like Skyrim. You have to apply effort and musculature and hitting the hammer on the anvil thingy. It's actually called anvil thingy. That's your first blacksmithing lesson. Anvil's thingy.
I mean, I've got an ingot and a leather strap. Why don't I have,
5 knives by now?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, we're reverting.
So, I mean, yeah, that's one thing that I've become super, super nerdy about. Another that kind of ties along with that is guns as well. I'm a big gun and knife nerd. I'm on the beginning. I've exited off the main ramp and am starting to do my first AR-15 build.
Nice.
And I'm gonna do it from the ground up, but every day I change my mind about what I'm gonna do and how I'm gonna do it and what the end goal is, and it's really frustrating, but it's super exciting because there are as many ways to build an AR-15 as there are to write a comic book. I mean, there are.
Interesting. I was not aware of that.
It's insane. There's not just poof, here's a rifle. There are. I mean, it's essentially
I have
like
a leather
Legos.
strap and an ingot. Why don't I have an AR-15 by now?
Yeah, seriously.
Oh gosh, that's gonna die.
I used to be an armorer like you, but then I took an FFL to the knee.
There you go.
Yeah, so I've started that. I've got essentially building an AR-15 that I've come to learn is like Legos for adults.
Interesting.
There's oh god, so many different routes to go in. I could do whole episodes. I could probably start another podcast just about this journey. And
maybe we'll have an AR update. AR update with James Perry.
Maybe. Now, the other thing that I am super... Do you want to talk about another book, or did you cover all of them?
Well, I mean, I've got other books I like. Artemis Fowl, I know I've listed a couple of young adult books, because quite frankly, a lot of the young adult books are amazing compared to when I was growing up. They didn't have a lot. They had some, but they didn't have a lot. I mean, Artemis Fowl was a good one. You want to talk about some good adult books? Ready Player One, The Martian, are just 2 that off the top of my head that are amazing. We've talked about them on this podcast before. Kind of the same level that you have gotten into the AR building. A lot of people on the podcast probably don't know I've recently taken over the youth directorship of our church's youth program. And so Bible study, public speaking, and semi-comedy has become my life for like 4 months, because what I've learned is that talking to a group of teenagers isn't just add topic, add water, and stir. It literally, if you think about the teenage mind and how much access they have to information or entertainment or anything else, what you find out is that if you don't have a way to grab their attention every couple of minutes, you lose them fast. And having to know when to insert joke, when to drive home point, when to apply Bible point has really been an interesting study. I mean, you wouldn't think so. You'd be like, okay, fine, they're there for church for youth, no problem. No, not even a little. I've gotten grayer because of this experience. It's been rewarding. I'm not trying to complain. You said AR-15 building is like Legos for adults. I think that this is like a brain puzzler and like an HI event for speech and debate students that graduate high school and looking for that next thing. Try this for a few months and see if you don't end up going a little nuts. But it's fun. It's nuts in a fun way. Nuts in a fun way.
And I honestly think that blacksmithing will be like that for me. I mean, it essentially teaches you how to learn through repeated failures. I mean, you could spend days making a knife, and then in the heat treat process, it could crack. And you can't start over with that. You have to
start from scratch at that point, don't you?
You have to start from scratch over it. So it's, I don't know, but it's something that people with a lot less materials and opportunity and a lot less information do. So I definitely want to jump in.
I get that a lot. Yeah, I definitely get that because, and I'm not trying to mow right back over the same thing I talked about. I'll be stuck on a topic for literally a week. Get to the day that I'm supposed to speak at, like supposed to get up in front of the youth group that night, and then have this burst of inspiration, and then write like a fool for 2 hours. That's like, this is the best thing I've ever written or said or done. So I understand that a little bit. I really do. Other things. Oh my gosh, the podcasts. Not just ours, dear listener. We don't just listen to boost numbers. That's crazy talk. We also listen to other podcasts.
You know, I've never done that once. Have you done that? Have you listened to our show? I mean, I have to because I edit, but have you ever gone back and listened to a full episode?
Actually, yes, I do. It's about every other week I find myself listening for two reasons. One, I want to see, because I've moved my office downstairs, I want to see if there's any clarity issues or anything. And two, did we say anything that week that we said we'd bring back up or research or whatever, and I've forgotten because I've been busy. So I want to make sure we haven't forgotten that. So yeah, every once in a while I do. And honestly, sometimes they're just fun. I wasn't want to listen to it again. Because in the moment, it's like, was it as fun as I think it was? Oh, we should bury this one next to the E.T. Atari games. That was bad. But it's rare.
Yeah, I'll tell you and the dear listener that the Christmas episode, the one we did, our last episode, was Christmas media we love to consume, and we did a list of music and movies that we love, and that one was really fun to edit. I didn't go back and listen to it, but it was there wasn't a whole lot of editing that needed to be done, so I felt like I listened as I was doing it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So it was some episodes I'm like, okay, let's be done now, boys.
That's good.
This one was enjoyable. So, okay, so all the podcasts. So what's your first?
If I just want pure entertainment, the Nerdist podcast with Chris Hardwick is just awesome.
Fully agree.
9 times out of 10 you get good conversations that are humorous, and all the time you get good conversations, period. One of my favorites so far has been Homicide Hunter, I believe his name was. Do you remember that episode?
I think I started that one but didn't finish it.
It's good.
I listen to Nerdist. I've been listening to Nerdist since episode 400. So I've been listening for a while. I got to tell you, the best episodes are the ones you just know, you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Like Sir Patrick Stewart.
Oh, that every time he's on is a delight.
Every time he's on is great. I love Sir Ian McKellen. Changed the way that I will deal with celebrities when I start meeting them.
Exactly. I agree.
Instead of asking for a selfie, I'll have a conversation.
Exactly.
Maybe throw a hug in the mix. And have someone else snap a pic if I really want one like that bad.
Yeah.
But I won't be like, hey, can I get a selfie with you? Like, I'm gonna. I mean, it just changes the way that I view these people that I like to consume all their content. What other podcasts are you obsessed with besides ours?
Lore.
Oh,
the Lore podcast is all. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Flat out. That and the every time. I'm like, okay, I've checked this out, and I've been hooked from the first time I listened, just because. I mean, I don't think. How to say this? I don't think he's an incredible narrator. I think he builds the story in such a way that keeps you don't see it coming. I mean, he slowly immerses you by layers. By the time you're done, you're like, oh my gosh, this was awesome. I'm so glad I listened to this. And I think that's why it's so addicting to listen to. It's actually because of Lore that me and the kids have started watching old episodes of Unsolved Mysteries.
Nice.
I don't even know why. That should be on the notes, but Unsolved Mysteries, like the old 80s synthesized stuff and Robert Stack and just the and the best part is you're watching it on Amazon and it goes update and like Sophia looks at me and she's like, wait, they have updates? I'm like, okay, first, these are like decades old. And secondly, this isn't even the fresh run through. So they're airing stuff as you go. And then later on, if they have new information, they'll patch it in. So what you're seeing is the fact that other people have been caught because of such and such. And they're like, oh, so they're learning about history as they're watching these stories unfold. So,
I gotcha.
And then Jake's like, okay, so last night I couldn't sleep. It wasn't because the Unsolved Mysteries episode scared me. It was because that stupid synthesized music kept me awake and I kept humming it all night.
Yeah. Welcome to our hell, Jake.
Yes.
Welcome to our hell.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Man, so I'll keep my podcast list kind of quick because I've got other stuff I'm super nerdy about, Mike.
I know. This is crazy.
So yeah, I will read the list I have, and then I'll read the list of suggestions that I have. First of all, if you like lore, you should check out Serial, and you should check out S-Town.
The only problem with Serial is it hasn't started up again, has it? It did those 2 seasons.
Well, yeah, they did the 2 seasons. Season 1 of Serial is unbelievable.
Yeah, amazing.
And season 2 is kind of stopped midway because the trial of the guy is still going on. S-Town is 1 season. It's a one-shot. I don't even know how many episodes.
7. It's 7 episodes, and honestly, it started. I mean, it's good through and through. I thought it was going to be one thing. It turned out to be a completely different thing. And at the end, I don't know if we actually got a conclusion. It just feels like there's more of that story, and they just stopped, and I'm like, So it's still incredibly good storytelling.
Yeah, so I've mentioned this show on the pod before, the MFCEO podcast. Guys, if you want to be the CEO of your own life in a take charge manner, and you don't mind the F-bomb, check out the MFCEO project. Andy Frisella and the gang up in St. Louis has changed my life. Listening to that podcast, and I freaking love it. I'm a huge soccer fan. More specifically, I'm a huge MLS fan and English Premier League fan. And I'm also a fan of English bald men. And all of those things are why
Which explains Sir Patrick Stewart. And yeah, okay.
Sure.
Yes. Get him out of your trunk, by the way. The world misses him.
He paid me $5
no.
to not get him out of my trunk. So that's where he stays.
I don't believe you.
So that's why I listen to the Men in Blazers podcast. If you guys are English Premier League soccer fans and you're not listening to this podcast, you owe it to yourself. Okay, moving on. Dear Hank and John is one that I've
Brothers
liked for a while. Yes. They have a podcast. It's a 30 to 45 minute podcast weekly, sometimes monthly, depending on their schedules. Super funny. They banter like we banter. It's just a lot of fun.
Excellent.
If you're a fan of the G4 Tech TV days, you may be interested to know there's a podcast I've picked up, not for the faint of heart or the sensitive of ear, called Pointless with Kevin Pereira.
Oh, I bet that's a mouthful. I bet that he blasts and stuff.
Woo, it's great, but it's a good one. I haven't listened to it in a little while because I don't have a lot of extra time, so I've been keeping it to pretty much Nerdist and MFCEO and lore whenever the storyline piques my interest.
Have you checked out Criminal?
I have not. I will add it to the list.
Criminal's good because they research the odd or the vague criminal stuff, and sometimes it's about a crime, and sometimes it's about life intersecting with laws in weird ways, and it's interesting how they approach it because this person's guilty. Nope, this is a different story that they're exploring. So I like it, the fact that each story has a take different from the last episode. So I like it a lot.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
it's really
now,
cool.
I'm also super, super nerdy about going to the gym. I've mentioned that before in the podcast, so I won't spend.
Who's Jim?
I will introduce you next Christmas.
Oh, so awkward.
Music. I have always been a music nerd.
Wait. Okay, you can't say nerdy about the gym and not tell people where you go. You have to tell people where you go.
I go in Springfield, Missouri. There is a gym called Combat Cross Training. It is ran by a good friend of mine, King Owens.
King, you run a great establishment, and the first time I was there, I thought I was going
Yes.
to throw up my shoes, but I didn't. Amazing.
That means you're doing it right.
Exactly.
I absolutely love this place. It's become my sanctuary, and I have not been in like 2 weeks, and so I am probably longer. I went one day. Yeah, I've been with illness and holiday schedules and everything else.
that.
I've been
I get that.
super inconsistent, and I'm about to lose my ever living mind because of it. I've also, like I said, huge music nerd. If it has talent displayed, I'm a fan. And my tastes have changed over the years, but I typically come back to a core group. Mike, the other thing, I guess I'm also super nerdy about like green/sustainable living,
I get that.
renewable resources, super into all that stuff.
That's why you
But
pee into a coffee filter and then you run it through your
Yeah.
filter, and somehow you think it's coffee. It's not.
yeah,
But okay.
it is. Well, as much caffeine as I drink, it is.
That's just not okay. Ever. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I do have to say one thing, and this is going to sound like I'm going back to the nerdy thing, but lately I haven't got a lot of them, but I've started to notice I've got quite a few Funkos. I mean, we're not talking about like the Funko Twitter page or Facebook page where it's got like 8-foot wall space dedicated, but I got a lot of, I don't know what it is about the design of certain Funkos, but I like them / have to have them. One of them is staring at me now, and it's holographic Leia with R2-D2 from the Comic-Con exclusive collection just because. And I'm like, I don't know why I have this, but I like it, and it's cute, and I have to have it, and what's wrong with me? So I'm nerding out on those.
yeah, no, I get it.
It's a thing. It is a thing. Yes. Now, I do have a question for you, Mr. Gunman. So
Sure.
we are thinking about getting a gun for the house, and we've been back and forth on getting a rifle, getting a gun, getting a shotgun, getting it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So we've tried different guns, and Christina surprisingly likes the feel of a bigger gun and not a smaller one. She likes the fact that it has security. So is there a place where we can go try
Oh,
several guns
glad you asked.
at times and figure out what grip / trigger guard / manufacturer works best for the both of us? Besides robbing a pawn shop, that was something we're not going to do.
I mean, I don't know. There's a place here in Springfield called Cherokee Firearms where I went for my birthday and shot one of their AR-15s, and it was more just to double check and make sure I knew how to work the battery of arms with an AR-15 and make sure I was doing everything correctly. And it went really well. It was not cheap. They run about $12 a person. And then you have to buy a box of ammunition because they don't want anybody else's ammo to run through their gun.
Makes sense.
And then you have to pay for your lane. So it
it can stack.
it can get up there, but you will get. Do you like AR-15s? I don't know. Okay, well, you either need to shoot at friends or you need to go that route. But it is super safe, and it's a brand new range facility here in the area, and it is very, very beautiful and well kept, and they're very concerned about safety. So it's a great place to do it. I know other places you can go and rent pistols for much cheaper around where I live. I don't know, man. I would say before you decided on a home defense weapon, I would figure out a couple of super key information. One, can you shoot?
There is that.
Because if you can't, probably should go shotgun.
Yeah, there is that to consider.
You
I
need
do
to-
scream and wail a lot while flashing my fingers bowed out from my hands in a weird, like, drunk chicken fashion, if that helps.
Okay, I'd go crossbow. No, I'm kidding.
Crossbow. I don't bring my fingers together, but you want me to pull a trigger. Okay, that works.
Yeah.
That works.
No, I mean there's lots of questions. We can talk about this more off air, but I mean I've battled that demon quite a bit.
Yes.
Right now I use a 9mm pistol with a tack light on it because I can shoot pretty well.
Right
So I went with a pistol. Now my house is a defensive nightmare.
Yes, it
When it
is.
comes to shooting through walls, I live in a box shape. with my children on opposite ends of that box than I am. So I have to do a little more moving around than you probably would. All you have to do is post up in the front bedroom of your house, tell your kids to stay downstairs, or wherever they are, and you're pretty much good.
Yep, pretty much. Kids hug the floor. Thank you.
Mine is awful, but we can talk about that more. Like I've put years of research into this stuff. So if you guys have any questions, hit me up.
Indeed. Now, if you are a dad, one podcast I will mention, and I don't know why I didn't think about this before, is the GDP, the Good Dad Project.
Yeah.
It's an excellent podcast. If you have hit your stride as a father, or you're still trying to figure out what these tabby thingies on the side of this diaper thingy and why do the kid keeps getting stuck weirdly in your diaper, or maybe you're just trying to figure out how to parent that pesky teen who one day seems to be an angel and the next flat out the Antichrist. The GDP is a great way to go as far as just getting some refreshment and getting a good perspective outside of your own. Because what I find is oftentimes when I have a problem when it comes to parenting or even adulting, it's getting outside of my own head to look down on the situation that I realize what the answer could be. And they are a great place to start with such things.
Yeah, I'm about to start listening again because we're hitting some roadblocks with...
Have you tried the taser?
Oh my gosh.
That's really the first advice that I have for anybody. That's not true.
It's pretty awful. But yeah, no, it's a great podcast and one that I do frequent. Now, Mike,
yes, sir?
I've mentioned this before in the podcast. Uh-huh. It is the thing I'm probably most nerding about now, besides the whole knife making thing. I've mentioned it before. Guys, I'm super nerdy about planetary and star-based sciences.
You're building a super weapon.
Yep.
You
figured it out.
Using a toaster and a jelly bean.
Yep. So there's an amazing set of documentaries on Netflix. You should totally start with is it called The Farthest? I think it's called The Farthest. It's the story of Voyager 1 and Voyager 2.
There you go.
Two satellites we launched in the 70s and their story. And I've always been a super nerd about this kind of stuff, but this documentary and some other things, I typically always watch Cosmos like once or twice a month. And this, I don't know, I'm super into it. So, Mike, we're nerds.
Yes, we
right?
are.
We're super Star Wars nerdy.
Yeah, buddy.
So one of the things, and I didn't run the calculations on these guys, and also I'm a huge nerd about big numbers. So big numbers and planetary and star sciences all go together.
Yep.
So, and I'll move quickly through this. But so in Star Wars, they have a thing called to travel super fast in between places.
Parsec.
It's called what? Well, no. What's the
light
engine
speed
called? Light speed. Yeah.
The hyperdrive.
Right.
Yeah.
So she'll make 0.5 past light speed, right?
Yeah.
So
always.
If that's not possible,
no, not even a little.
We can't go right. But if we were to travel at 99.9% the speed of light, we would leave Earth's surface at 299,792,458 meters per second,
which would leave a huge dent in the Earth, by the way.
Yeah, no, for
Possibly
sure.
straight through that mug.
It would take us 1.28 seconds to get to the moon. It would take us 4.36 seconds. No, I'm sorry, 4.36 minutes to get to Mars.
That's impressive.
We could get to Saturn in about an hour and 15. Depending on traffic, we could get...
It gets busy this time of year. The holiday season is just crazy.
Yeah, we could get to Pluto in 5.35 hours. The nearest star to us is called Proxima Centauri.
Yes, it is.
Cool name, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Super cool name.
Well, it's a bunch of Martian Romans. They got lost out there one year, and they just never came back.
Hail Caesar.
Indeed.
So even our closest star would take us 4.3 years to get there.
Isn't that a heck? I mean, we zoom back everything so quick, it's going to be amazing. And then you're stuck out there forever trying to travel.
Well, I mean, again, this is at 299 million meters per second.
Yes.
Per second.
And that's if you can build a craft able to withstand those forces.
We're just assuming we already have. I'm just saying.
Oh, right
that even at these speeds, 30,000 years to get to the center of the Milky Way galaxy.
Oh my gosh.
To get to Andromeda, Mass Effect Andromeda. How fast would it take us to get there? And I'm assuming this is with the assistance of a Mass Effect relay.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready for this? How long in the game?
Oh my gosh. They
Said 500
yeah,
years?
about that.
Way off.
Okay.
2.5 million years. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
At that speed, divided by that distance, I didn't do this math, so I'm not claiming to know how, but yeah, 2.5 million years to get to the edge of the observable universe.
Wow.
As far out as we can tell there is stuff, 46 billion years. Isn't that fascinating?
That is banana pants crazy.
Oh my gosh.
had no idea.
Probably my favorite chapter in physics class was when we took the size of the Earth, the mass of the Earth, and we divided it by the mass of Jupiter. Mm-hmm. Do you know how many Earths fit into Jupiter?
12.
67.
I was off. Holy crap. I didn't know this was that big.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Jupiter's Saturn 62, Uranus, which is the proper way to pronounce it, is 27.
Excellent. And also the fifth grader in me is protesting silently at that pronunciation. But the adult concurs with your hypothesis.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
But yeah, I just, man, I love digging into huge numbers, almost incalculable math. To me is just super fascinating. I love it.
Are you a
so much
nerd
fun
about it?
I certainly am. I actually got 10 extra credit points in my physics class my junior year of college because I was able to to figure out how long it would take a laser beam to get to the moon and back.
Good job. Good job. Yeah. Well, with that being said, dear listener, we're going to bring this episode to a close. We hope you've liked getting a small insight into the inner workings of our brainstems. And if not, we are deeply, deeply sorry. You know where to find us. We've got the Facebook group. We're on the Instagram. We have a Twitter account, of course, which we sadly underuse because, to be quite honest, I don't understand the Twitter that much, but I try anyway. Yeah, dear listener, we got stuff coming down the pipe for you. Next week, we're going to have our The Last Jedi spoiler cast.
That's right. Mike and I are going to go see it before week's end.
Yes.
I'm actually seeing it tomorrow.
And I'm seeing it Friday.
Did you watch the spoiler-free review that I sent you?
No, intentionally because
Okay.
All I did was I watched the teaser for the movie. I saw the first trailer, and that's it. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. I don't want any...
I'm only gonna say the number that the lead editor of IGN gave it. Are you ready?
Bring it.
9.7 out of 10.
What?
That
is
dude.
Impressive.
I'm super excited.
Nice.
Super excited. Guys, what did we mention that... Are you also nerdy about one of these things or one of these podcasts that we mentioned? Let us know in the comments down below.
Are you screaming at your earbud thingies? What are you... How did you miss this thing that I nerd out about? We want to know about that,
right.
too. Maybe there's stuff
completely
out there that we don't know about that you do, and you need to share with us.
Yeah, if you're a big fan of Etch-a-Sketch art, I want to know about it.
Buddy the Elf is.
For sure. If you are a fan of bird dropping ink blot testing,
don't
want to
know about it.
No. Okay. But yes, let us know what you're nerdy about. Let us know if you also like the things we like or things we didn't mention. Let us know in the comments down below. If you're on YouTube, make sure you guys subscribe. If you are on iTunes, make sure you guys leave us a review and share the podcast. It really, really helps us out. Guys, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, dear listener, so much. Yes.
For last of the party, I've been James.
I've been Mike. Join us next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. We will catch you later.
Bye.